All right, everybody, Blazers world, we're here. Another episode of the Rip City Roundtable Podcast. And I think there was a vote taken, Aaron, and you are the most popular guest we've ever had on the show.
There's no way that's true.
That's true. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I'm making that up. Maybe I'm lying, but it sounded really good.
It does sound good.
You're probably in the top 8 easily. Top 8 or 9.
There's been 8 or 9 guests.
There's probably been 8 or 9 guests. I'm your host, Corey Dickman. I'm here with the doctor, Aaron Brown, and I couldn't think of anybody better to come in and break down this season with me, Aaron, and talk through which players we think did well, poorly, hand out some grades, and let our fan base kind of know where we're at with how we felt about this year. So does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds like a fun time. Excited to be here with you, my fellow Texas Blazer fan here.
Oh, yes. At least the Blazers didn't trade Luka. That's a
positive. Yeah.
That's a positive.
I find myself using that as the lens of how I judge everything. It's like, well, it could be worse.
It could be worse. But literally, and I'm not trying to say like we're a more like our fan base is more it's like a sadder fan base. That's not the right word than the Mavericks. But like, Aaron, would you rather have the Blazers traded a superstar like Luka, or have Luka's knees go out on him at the age of 27 and have to retire early and end his career? Which one would you have rather have had?
Oh, I see.
What's
I see where we're going with this. Jeez.
I mean, one gets you value.
Am I trading said superstar to the Lakers for nothing? Because no. I still don't know.
Yes, you still are. They're still going to the Lakers. So maybe you take the injury and the what ifs.
I mean, seriously, yeah. I think I might, just because, oh man, my Lakers hatred has been on high.
Yeah.
As many Portland fans have probably aligned with me on.
Oh yeah.
It's very hard to see what's going on.
Well, and it's been nice. I feel like really, and I know the Lakers won and if you're not watching on YouTube, championship with quotation marks in 2020, even though that was it was like a COVID tournament. I'd say it's like right above the in-season or the NBA Cup. Like what the Lakers won in 2020 was above the NBA Cup, but nowhere near like an NBA title. So if you take that out of the mix, the Lakers really haven't won anything since 2010, really. It's been a long time. So we've had it pretty good as like as Laker haters for a while here.
Yeah, but now they're set up for the next 4 or 5 years, and it's really upsetting.
Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. All right. Well, we didn't
come here to talk about.
We didn't come here to talk about Luka. We came here to break down the Trailblazers season. And Aaron, I figured the easiest way to start this list off was just to go down who played the most minutes, because the season clearly wasn't one where the Blazers were in contention in any way, shape, or form. There was a bittersweet moment in January where the team reeled off a lot of wins and showcased some potential, I would say, but literally just we said goodbye to Cooper Flagg. At least percentages would say we said goodbye to Cooper Flagg. And so really that was not a great look, but depending on how you look at it, that was like the bright spot of the season.
If you remember the last time I was on here, that was right as that was starting, I think we were talking about like, hey, this is where we're at. Like, I think we can maintain this position. I think we were like 5th or 6th from the bottom at that point.
We were 5th. I think we were jockeying for that 5th. Yeah, I want to say we were in 5th. Yeah.
You were like, New Orleans could move up. We're like, the things did not go the way we envisioned at that time.
Zion's coming back. Ingram's coming back. CJ's coming back. The Philadelphia 76ers, they're going to right the ship. So they're going to get better. Like, it really was just like Utah and the Wizards, where I was like convinced there's no way the two of them are going to be any good. So I figured we'll be in the bottom 3 and we'll have even odds for Cooper. And then the Blazers decided to play this consistent stretch of basketball with Ayton and Avdija, Grant, Scoot, Shaden, Simons is like we had like a team, and then they actually like looked decent, but we also weren't playing a lot of good teams either. So
yeah.
Anyway, all right. So we're starting the list off here, Aaron, with arguably probably everybody's favorite Blazer right now. This guy is what Blazer fans right now are hanging our hats on. Is probably totally defensive second team of the year player. I don't know if he'll make first team, but I think for sure he'll make second team. And that's Toumani Camara, Aaron. Toumani logged 2,548 minutes this season, led the Blazers in that category, and led the Blazers in a lot of other categories. Give me your initial thoughts of Toumani Camara.
Toumani was just great to see the development of this year. Even early on in the season, you're like, wait, he's been working on his game, because like this guy, his shot was better, his commitment to the defensive end, his positioning. I mean, there's so many good things. I mean, we could talk the whole rest of this podcast probably about Toumani, because he's just had such a great year. I agree. He's probably tied for number one for me. We'll get to that later, but maybe number two. But okay. We'll get to that later. But I think Toumani's had a great year. I think as a Blazers fans, you couldn't have asked for more from him.
Yeah, agreed. I think Toumani, everybody always wants to say, like, are the young players going to take a leap, right? Are they going to take another jump? And Toumani had a great rookie season and then was still able to take a jump right into this season. And for me, as far as his development went and what this season needed to look like, I go to one statistic, and it was 3-point percentage. And if you had told me Toumani would end the season 38% 3-point shooter, I would have done a cartwheel and been so happy. And that's where he ended up. And if he can develop that shot, at least be a threat, not just respectable from three, but a threat. I mean, that is what the Blazers, need and want from him. And I think he got there this year. Obviously, the defense, that leading the league and taking charges, is just like the best hustle stat you ever would want out of a player. Yeah. I mean, picking up full court, all those things, but it was his offense that started to show signs. And I don't think he is going to be a player that you just can ignore on the offensive side of the ball. I think Toumani is gonna be a third, fourth option potentially for this team, and that's what you need from a guy like that if this team's going to contend in the near future. So, a grade, I would say A minus. I'd say A minus. It's not perfect. Yeah. He didn't average 22 points a game, so I'm not going to go A plus, but I'd say A minus for Toumani.
Yeah, because we're these grades are based on expectations for that player, based on what we expect from them and stuff too. And I agree. I think it's a solid A for Toumani. Yeah,
agreed. Would you say he's the most untouchable Blazer?
That's a good question. I mean, given the contract, that's probably a safe bet.
Yeah.
I mean, if untouchable is kind of not the right word for this team. If like a superstar was available and they're like, well, we have to have Toumani, and you're like, well, okay, sure. we probably would include Toumani, but we don't want to, because he'd be a great piece next to any superstar that came. So
could you imagine if the Phoenix Suns could have flipped, if they could have said, we'll have kept Toumani and no Bradley Beal? If you had put Toumani in that starting lineup instead of Beal, oh my gosh, against Booker and Durant.
I'm sure they're dying right now. Yeah.
Woo, that'd be a dangerous team. All right. Any final thoughts on Toumani before we move on?
Let's see. So I think he led the team in steals as well, right? I think
1.5 a game. And then Matisse is average.
He only played like 15 games or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll take him out of the.
Take him out. Although Matisse probably would have led it anyway, but yeah,
take him out.
We'll take him out. We'll take him out. Yeah, I guess we should say he 11 points a game, 5 we'll round up, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and then 1.5 steals a game, almost a half a block a game, and so
he's also the one of the only 3 players who started every game, played 78 out of 82, which is great. That's you like to see that from a guy who gets a lot of minutes, gets a lot of playing time. So
yeah, and if you remember 2 seasons ago, his season ended early. That shoulder injury that he had, and so it would have been great to see him finish out 2 seasons ago. Not that it would have mattered record wise, but just for development. So it was good to see him really, honestly play every game. I mean, I know he missed 4 there, but that's a super strong. He's got to be durable. If you're gonna be a reliable Blazer, we got to avoid the I word. The I word. I'm not going to say the full word, but avoid the I thing. Okay. All right. Next on our list of most minutes played after Toumani Camara. It was close, Aaron, but Anthony Simons comes in at number 2 with 2,292 minutes played, averaged 19 points a game. What were the Anthony thoughts? It's a different mindset, right, than what we have for like a player like Toumani.
Yeah. So Anthony, our leading scorer, 19.3 points per game was our leading scorer.
Yep.
And obviously the veteran, one of the veterans on the team, and he did what we thought he would do. I mean, I don't know, like, it's hard to get excited about Anthony because we're not really sure what his role is going to be in this team going forward. So it's like, well, I'm glad he's here. Glad, we got him, but what's the future like with Anthony? I don't know. That's a topic for another show, maybe.
Yeah. I'm still convinced, like, Toumani or Anthony all season just didn't look like he wanted to be here. And I know there's probably some, and there could be personal stuff going on, and that's always the aspect of professional sports that us fans don't give our athletes enough credit for, or at least acknowledge a lot of is what's going on in their life, because they all have lives. So there could have been factors there, but it just seemed like Anthony knows that he's not long for the team. He didn't get traded, but I just felt that. And if you look at his percentage, I mean, 36% from the 3-point line, Toumani shot a higher percentage than Simons, and nobody would ever say Toumani's a better 3-point shooter than Anthony Simons. And so, and I understand the volume of shots is a lot more.
I think Anthony's put in a tough spot in that regard. He's usually getting the number 1 defensive assignment. He's often forced late in the shot clock to put up a difficult shot to try to create his own shot. And that just goes to, like, some of the things that are still not clicking for our offense. I think we do struggle in the half court at times. And it's him and Grant that try to bail us out, and that reflects in their percentages, right? So, like, I don't hold that against him. I think
you're right.
Given the right system and everything, I think he could put up better numbers. But it's tough. Yeah.
No, you're spot on. And that's a good assessment. I thought his assists, his playmaking, he had about 5 assists a game here, but his playmaking actually was more than 5 assists a game. I thought he really took a step forward in that area, which is like if he was a point guard, developing into like a potential point guard, you want to see that playmaking. And I thought Simons, I didn't think his offense could take another jump, and it did. Like he found that level, and he really conducted the team well in that position. And so, you want to see improvement, and we saw improvement. I just don't know if it's meant to be on this team. That's just the problem. That's the problem with this. And his defense will always be, not stellar. I think his ceiling there could be like what Steph Curry does on defense, where Curry gets hunted, but Curry can also find ways to get steals and be disruptive in some ways. So Simons needs to get to that point. But I felt like for a season that felt probably lost from the get-go, he did okay. What would be your grade for Ant Simons?
I mean, what's an okay? Oh, I agree. Like, okay, is that a B or a C? A C plus, B minus? What's okay?
Well, for you in school, it probably was a B. For me,
Yeah, C is
I
bad
would have taken
in school.
C. I would have taken a C minus any day of the week. So maybe it's a C. I was gonna lean towards like incomplete because I was gonna say, like Aaron, where people can and it's not called shadowing college classes, but remember where you could go audit. That's the word. You could audit a class, and you're like, you don't get a grade. You're just there. I think Simons was just here this year. Like I think he thought he was going to get traded. I think we all thought he was going to get traded, and I think he was just hanging around. He just was in the class, no grade. That was where I was kind of leaning, but I could go C as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he carried the team for stretches. Like there would be glimpses.
I know. I feel like a C is not really a fair grade.
Yeah, that's not
because of what's put on him. I think honestly, he's it's a catch-22. It's like the reason we have 36 wins instead of 26 is probably because of Simons. And like, are we holding that against him? Because like it's kind of like, well, we are a little bit, but also like it would have been much worse without him. So like,
it might have been
unwatchable. So
that's true. That's okay.
So maybe we bump it to a B because like he's doing what he needs to do.
That's true. He has to. If he's going to be out there, he has to play. Yeah, no, that's not his fault. It more is the fault of the person that got an extension, who will be the last person we're going to talk about here in our episode. So okay, all right. So that's Simons. We're giving him. We'll say a B. We'll say a B. A B for Simons. Fair. Okay. All right. Then the third place finisher for most minutes played this season with the Blazers was very, very close, but it goes to Shaedon Sharpe with 2,252 minutes, 72 games played, averaged 18.5 points a game. Give me some Shaedon thoughts.
So
say it.
So Shaedon, I think, especially early on in the year, we were like, oh my goodness, this guy is looking really good. Like he has taken another step. He's explosive. He's the one that will end up on a highlight reel because of the things he can do. And so like really enjoyed watching Shaedon. Looking at some of his numbers, but in prep for this, I found some interesting things, like one, he started 52 out of the 72 games he played. So like, he's not even in that starting lineup for part of the season. And so like you have that, affecting his game. And I also saw that if you change the numbers to like a per 36, like how they do that, he's actually our leading scorer per 36. He actually passed Simons.
What's he at?
Per 36, it's like 20. Let's pull it up here. 21.3 edges out Simons, which is 21.2. So like they're neck and neck, but like, and he was, in points right behind Simons anyways, right?
Yeah.
Which, I know Chauncey, they talked about in their press conference, like, oh, like we have a nice balanced scoring. It's like, that's not what we want. We want a guy who's going to score 30. Like,
yeah.
we don't want 320 points.
That's just like coach speak right there. Like
it's coach speak. But I think Shaedon is a guy that we're going to be looking to in the next couple of years to potentially be that all-star. Like, can he make it to that level? Like, he's one of the guys that we're definitely eyeing for that. Can we have a guy who's a 25-point game scorer? Like that's what we need. That's like the next thing that we need. And so Shaedon's one of those guys that I'm looking to for that.
Yeah, you're 100% right, and I think his offense is clear. Clearly, he's a great offensive player. I feel like that kind of got stagnant a little bit this season, but I do think that was the ups and downs of starting, coming off the bench. Never really was given the reins. Like I think if Simons had been traded, then Sharpe's just like your starting shooting guard, and let's see what can happen. So that the inconsistency I think hurt him from that offensive jump. Defense is where he probably backslid a little bit. I do think 2 seasons ago he for sure wasn't a liability. Like Simons was actually showing some promise on the defensive end just because he's so athletic and long. This season, that was what Chauncey was saying why he got benched, was like his defense was so poor. And the eye test kind of showed it. I mean,
Yeah.
there were games where he was struggling in the pick and roll, looked a little lost at times. And so that part, he's got to get back to at least level there, because he has the size and the ability to be a decent defensive player.
Yep.
I think expectations for him, for me, were just so high this season, Aaron, that like I probably would give him a lesser grade just because of that. And I don't know if that's fair.
I think it is fair though, because I mean, that is what we're grading on, is like what the expectations were. And I agree. I was probably highest on him of all the players coming into this season of like my expectations. And I don't think he disappointed per se, but I do think the defensive part, you're spot on. I do think we don't want to see going backwards in that regard. So that does affect the grade, I think. I think other stat that stood out is 3-point percentages needs to be better.
30.
All the guards, I think he's the lowest.
Yeah, 31%.
Yeah.
Not great. I was going to mention, he took 15 shots a game, and that has got to be higher. And like you said, Chauncey's saying, "Oh, it's a balanced offense," but we need a guy that's going out there launching, 20 shots. We need that. We need a volume scorer, and he has the ability to do that. To make those shots. My favorite, not favorite, but the thing that always stood out watching the broadcasts when I'd cover games is like Lamar Hurd loved mentioning like when Sharp would be on his made 3-pointers streak. So it was up to like, I forget the number, like 47 games in a row he's made a 3. And it would always be like Kevin Calabro and Lamar, whenever Sharp would hit the first 3 of that game, or for himself, I was just waiting to see who would say it first. Like it's like they had it written down or a sticky note or something. And that was like the most fascinating Sharp statistic from the season. It did end, sadly. The streak, I think he was getting close to, I think Lillard was like 50 some games or 60 or something, and Sharp was like 6 or 7 away, and he didn't get there. But but anyway, but we can't move on from Sharp without mentioning the ability to have highlights on ESPN. That's only time they ever really showed the Blazers.
That's what I'm saying.
Was when Sharp would just throw it like over somebody. Like his ability to jam the ball is incredible, and that's always exciting. You got to give points for that, right?
I agree.
Okay, so I'm gonna say I'm gonna be harsher, Aaron. I expected more. I'm gonna say C+ for Shane.
Okay,
I'm gonna be harder on him.
I'm gonna be softer and go B+. But
okay,
I'm a little biased because the one Blazer game I got to see this year, he was the most exciting part. So so I'm gonna the one Blazer game live. It's sorry.
Live. There you go. He gets graded on a curve because you were at the game.
Yeah.
All right. I love it. That's fair. Okay. All right. Next up, the newest Blazer. Well, actually, should that be not a statement? It's one of the new. We traded for him during the offseason.
Yes. Yep.
His first year with the team, playing 2,161 minutes. Deni Avdija. Aaron, give me your thoughts on Mr. Avdija.
This is the other play that where you were like Toumani number 1. I was like, I think Deni might be number 1 right now. I mean, he ended the year with crazy numbers.
Oh, like that's insane.
Which is very hard to grade because we're playing against either teams that are like not trying or teams that are like trying to lose actively or it's very hard to judge the end of the year. But he was playing very well all year, and it kept getting better. And watching him play is fun, like the way he just plays so hard and could take it coast to coast, and just getting that ball handling and playmaking from a small forward position. I know he kind of moved around a little bit, but that's kind of his natural position. And like, what can you say? I think we really hit with Deni. I think it was the trade ended up being a great move. I think this is a piece that can stay with us. I think he's he fits the timeline, right? He's the same age as Toumani. He's the same age, basically, as all those guys that are in that kind of bracket there. Yep. So like, what I don't know what else to say. It's just I'm very excited.
No. You're spot on. Let me add a little seasoning to your point. So you're right. The Blazers, a lot of the games down the stretch, we were playing, teams that are trying to tank. We had our Torontos in Chicago and San Antonio, Utah. But the Blazers actually were matched up against some good teams too. Like they had a pretty tough schedule down the stretch. And I'm just going to arbitrarily pick a game and say March 10th against Golden State, which is about a month ago. That team, Golden State, was trying to win. Avdija, 34 points, 16 rebounds. You go to the next game against the New York Knicks, trying to win. We lose that by a point in overtime. Avdija, 15 rebounds in that game. You go down a little further, March 19th, Memphis, trying to win. Memphis is trying to win. We win that game. Avdija, 31 points, 16 rebounds. The next 2 games later, the Nuggets. Now, they did not have Joker in this game, if I remember this, March 21st. But Avdija, 36 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Like, and there's, a New York later on in the season. Atlanta, who was still trying to win games. Like, there was still high-level competition, and he was just going out there and wrecking fools. He was the problem. Avdija was the issue we won. I know you said Simons earlier. It was Deni. If we had just sat him for the final 2 months, we would be in the Cooper Flag sweepstakes because he tried too hard. Like he is so good. I never really knew how to put words when I would do my analysis on how to describe this point that I'm about to say on the podcast. It was just like, his effort was game 7 level effort. Like he was yelling at the refs. He's getting in the face of the other team. And I think that other teams that were also like tanking were just like, dude, chill. Like we're all going to Cancun at the end of the year. Like so I loved his effort. And he started off the season a little rough, from 3-point range on offense. I think he was just trying to fill out his new teammates and what his role was going to be. But Aaron, 17 points a game, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, half a block. He ends the season. What was his 3-point percentage? It was 37%, so he's right there where you need to be. Massive. He has to be included. Like this was part of the Dame ripple. Like this was part of the Dame trade when we get Brogdon from the Celtics, and then, that was all still part of that thread, is what I mean. And then we trade Brogdon for Deni, like
with the extra pick, right?
With the extra pick, yeah. So,
no, it's true, and I mean, you would say like those Toumani and him are the 2 pieces from that is like, this is what we want to build around right now. Like this is the best we have. And like, if I was to pick a player who next season could be like an all-star on like a good team, if that's like the leap we make, that's probably not going to happen. I understand that. But like, if I'm trying to say that that's going to happen, Deni is the guy that I'm like, if he can continue to have those kind of numbers consistently throughout the year, that's an all-star level player. I mean, the last 13 games, 26.8 points, 11.2 rebounds, 5.5 assists. 5.5 assists. That would lead the team in assists if that was throughout the whole year. Like, that's really good, not scoring, but playmaking. He's drawing fouls. He's getting rebounds. I mean,
hey, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do a snippet of you saying that stat line, and I'm gonna play it all summer before I go to bed. And it'll be like, oh, Deni, or more like, like Happy Gilmore, where he's like, go to your happy place, and it's just gonna be you reciting that from this podcast, because that makes me so happy. Wow,
right?
What
a good stat, right? So in prep for this, I went to Grok AI, or just an AI, and I asked, what was the statistically best Blazer this season? And the answer they gave was Deni. Because of the last 13 games and what he did in that stretch. They're like, statistically adding to like winning, that this was the guy. And like, I was like, yeah, that's spot on. I think that's the guy that we have to put our hopes in right now.
Yeah, and I don't want to be struck by lightning here with this statement, but like what makes LeBron so terrifying is that he is a massive man that is so athletic that when he basically drives to the hole, he's just going to dunk it or he gets fouled. And it's obviously like the respect of LeBron or whatever you want to call it, respect or just him getting calls. But like Avdija's there. Like every time Deni drove to the hoop, that guy either had a layup or he got fouled. I mean, there what game was it where he kept drawing fouls on the other? It was hilarious, Aaron. I don't remember, but it was like noticeable. Like the announcers were like, he is fouling out the other team right now. Like they were getting so frustrated because nobody could like guard him effectively because he's so good at controlling his body, finishing at the hoop, and then hitting that open three, and he's deadly. And when you have a playmaker at the forward spot that can change a pace, like playoff, I can't wait to see playoff Deni. Playoff Deni is going to be so much fun to watch. And so maybe we're only 1 year away, Aaron. Maybe. Maybe one.
Do it.
Maybe two. All right. So Deni, I can't go A+ with anybody unless it's like that, like your MVP season. I'm going to go with A- as well. The same with Toumani. I'll go A- with Avdija.
Sure. I'll say A, which is what I said for Toumani, I think, because
okay.
Same
Perfect.
For sure.
We have to be fair. That combo together, those guys are awesome. All right, Aaron. Now we go down a little bit here.
So that was skim through the next couple.
Yeah, that was all fun and games. This one is probably the most I want to say controversial. That's not the right word, but the most debatable player. I think the most polarizing player on the team. And I'm talking about our heir apparent point guard, Scoot Henderson. Scoot played 1,759 minutes for the Blazers, 66 games played. Okay. How do you want to evaluate Scoot Henderson's season, his sophomore year in the NBA?
Yeah. We could start with some positives. I think there was some improvement in 3-point shooting. It was at a very low spot to begin with, but we did see some improvement there, which is key, right? He has to be able to hit 3-pointers or he's just going to get left alone and the offense is not going to function. I think he made strides. It's going slower than we wanted, but there is improvement. And so that is a positive. I think it's tough to, I'm looking at this. He started 10 games, so he's just not getting that starter rotation flow. So it's also just makes it hard to evaluate because, well, now is he playing mostly second units? Like that's not going to tell me much about, his ability to be a starting point guard in the league. So
yeah,
it's very hard to evaluate Scoot. I do think it was not what I was hoping for. I think going into the year behind Shaden, it was Scoot, right? That we were, at least for me, was most like, come on, this guy, let's go to the next level.
Yep.
Don't know that he went to another level. I think incremental improvement.
Yeah. Incremental improvement. I think Chauncey held him back. And I know that's just me from the outside. I know people that are closer to the team may disagree with that, but just, you can't yo-yo a guy like that where it's starting lineup, bench, and then just play the bench. And in a year where it's a developmental year, play the guy. You notice that Chauncey would do this thing every game is when he had the players healthy, Simons would start, obviously, and then at about the 8-minute point of the first quarter, a 7 or 8 minute, Aaron, every game he would sub Simons out and then put Scoot in. Or later on that became Sharp, but that was the rhythm. And I've had a successful coaching career during my 7th and 8th grade. Vanguard boys were incredible. I think we lost one game all year because we played a really tough team from Dallas. So I'm not here to say I am the coaching guru. I'm not John Wooden, But I don't know if I would do that. I don't know. One, why would you take your quote unquote best player, Anthony Simons, out after 4 minutes and then put your rookie in and then he gets run? So I get getting run and then you put Simons back in to close the half or to close the first quarter. The rotations made no sense. I feel like there was no consistency. And I think that really hurt Scoot, where this guy is ultra confident. I mean, almost too confident, right?
Mhm.
Like, so that guy needs to start, and let's see what we have at when he starts. And I'm kind of echoing what you just said, but I can't say it's a throwaway year. I don't want to say that. I think Scoot.
No, I don't. I wouldn't go that far, but I do think that it was slowed the way the year going, and maybe some of that falls on Cronin, like not making those trades to open up that playing time space. Maybe it's not all on Chauncey. When you're head coach of the NBA, you have to deal with veterans. You have to deal with guys who are making a lot of money. Like, you can't just be like, sorry, you're not going to play because I want to develop this kid. Like, that doesn't, it doesn't always work that way.
Yeah.
And so, like, I get that, but if this is the guy that we drafted number 3 overall, that we're expecting to be our point guard of the future, he's got to become that. And so far, we're not there. And it's like, maybe we need to start looking around for more point guard. Like, maybe this draft we're drafting another point guard. Like, I don't know at this point.
I think you talk to people that really follow prospects and follow the team. People that I've had on this podcast. I mean, everyone would say, yeah. I mean, if Dylan Harper, if we get the number 2 pick and Harper there from Rutgers is there, everyone said we draft Harper, yeah. point guard. And it's like, oh, and I don't know if I'm there, Aaron. I don't, like, from rookie year to this year, Scoot, he slowed down a lot. Like, he's still ultra quick, but I feel like he learned how to slow down a little bit. He finished at the rim so much better than his first season.
Yeah, I noticed that too early on. Like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there would be times in his rookie season where he almost seemed like he was surprised he got to the rim, and then like would do and then it was just a missed layup every time, or like he'd get turnover. This season he was finishing, and so that's
turnovers down this year. I didn't look at his.
I don't know if the stats. It felt like they were. I mean, last year, dude, he was like a sieve sometimes. I mean, 8 or 9 turnover games. I would feel like they were. I think his playmaking, his passing jumped out to me at times too. Like the cross court passes and when part of the problem when him and Ayton were playing together during that January stretch. I mean, the lob passes and things like that were just on point. Like, Scoot, you can see the court vision. You can see why he was the 3rd pick. Like, you understand why people like Bill Simmons were like, I don't know, maybe better than Wemby. Like, you can see why people thought that.
Yeah, some of that playmaking is elite if we could just get it more consistently. I agree.
Yeah. So 35% from 3. Again, not terrible, right? I mean, that is
improvement. Huge
improvement. His shot even looked weird freshman year, his rookie season.
Right. Yeah.
This year, like, the form looked a lot better, and it was confident. He had the game. I covered that. I forget who we played. 8 3-pointers. Like, I think I texted you something I was like,
that one. I remember that game.
Yeah, I was like, Scoot alert. I said something because I was like, dude, this guy, because he just started off so fast, and so the defense. It'll get there. He's a 2nd-year point guard. You're gonna get just abused on defense. That's just unless you're Chris Paul, who cheats and grabs and claws. But I think Scoot will improve there. I do. I don't know, man.
Led the team in assists.
Coming off the bench.
Assist numbers aren't very high, so not saying much. But
but still,
yeah.
We cannot give up on him. This would be
not good enough for sure.
A travesty if we gave up on Scoot Henderson. That would be awful.
I think he's at least like solid point guard. Maybe doesn't reach the level of all-star. I'm still hopeful. Maybe something can happen and he can, because the playmaking is there. Yeah, if he puts it all together, I feel like all-star is available to him. But I think. I don't want to go as far as to say his floor is a starting caliber point guard, because I don't think I could say that just yet. But I think he can get to that level at least.
Yeah. I think he can. If you've read some of the reports and some of the like different shows, and people have talked about how terrible the G League Ignite's development coaching staff was, it was so bad. Like these guys were coming in as like semi-pros, they were supposed to be better than come here, play with us instead of a college team. Man, I'm telling you, if he was at Baylor, he would have had better. Like Scott Drew. All we do at Baylor is pump out NBA players. Are they superstars? No, but they're on teams. Like Scoot would have been better off at a college program, I think. And so I think that held him back. And so he gets into the NBA and he was just behind the 8 ball, but he thought he wasn't. And that's the problem for rookie season, he thought he was Kobe out there. Right. Like, and it's just like, so I not going to kill him. I thought the year was an improvement. The defense needs to improve. It needs to get better, but the 3-point shooting was getting there. The playmaking was much better. Did you ever find if he had more turnovers? Were you looking that up?
I didn't know. I just saw what he had for this year, and it is probably too high. I mean, if you go to the per 36 numbers, which is what I had pull up, he has the highest turnover rate per 36
on the team. He does.
Yeah. Of those that played any. I mean, some of the like 2-minute a game guys are higher, but that doesn't count. So
sure. Yeah, that doesn't count. Well, I think he improved there. Just the eye test.
I do think so. Yeah. There's room for more improvement, I think.
Yeah, room for more improvement. Grade. This was always going to be the toughest one.
I don't want to give a grade.
There was improvement. I'm gonna say a B. I'm gonna say B minus. I
was gonna say B minus, C plus, so like somewhere in that range. Okay. So I'll say B minus.
I think that's fair.
Let's be positive.
I hope. Yeah, there was improvement. I hope, and this is just statement, Corey. But like, let's get the number 1 pick. Let's get Cooper. Let's get Cooper in the building. And then let's find a nice trade partner for Sharp or for Simons, maybe Orlando. They need Anthony Simons. I watched that play-in game yesterday against Atlanta. They need Anthony Simons on that team. Trade us some assets, do something, free up the guard positions, and let Scoot and Sharp play all 82 games starting next season. Let's just see what we have.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Okay. I mean, love it. It's not going to happen, but
it's not going to happen. But we're in. Okay. All right, moving right along. This is an interesting one. Jeremy Grant.
Okay, Grant's next. Yeah.
1,524 minutes played, 47 games played. So, contrast to Scoot Henderson, who played 66 games, but only had 200 more minutes than Jeremy Grant. He's the oldest Blazer. I'm pretty sure I'm confident in saying that. Maybe Matisse might be older. He's certainly paid the most. Right there with Ayton, him and Ayton, all the money to those two. What do you think of Jeremy Grant? What goes through your mind?
He is the oldest. So I feel similarly to Simons. Like, I wasn't watching the Blazers for Grant this year. He was just kind of like, he was there. I actually think I was a little disappointed in his game this year. I felt like it kind of fell off a little bit, which was a little disappointing to see. You kind of thought he was going to be more of a leader on the team, and it just didn't pan out that way. He would be invisible at times. I mean, looking at like, I know he only played 47 games, but only 14 points per game. That should be higher, right?
Yeah.
As a guy who's taking a lot of shots, I don't know how many shots he take.
He's about 12 a game. 12 a game.
Not very efficient, right? 37%. I know he's taking a lot of difficult shots late in the shot clock because, like, if the offense breaks down, it just goes to him to try to create, and that's not really the best use of him, I think. So that's Also, I think in Dave's article, he highlighted he's not a great rebounder. That's probably an effort thing. There's a lot. I've got a lot of negatives, I guess. I didn't really expect to. I was thinking I was going to be more neutral, but now as I'm talking, I'm like, Grant, I think didn't meet those neutral expectations. So
no, super tough. All right, you mentioned 37% from the field. That is his lowest since his 2016-17 season when he was on the Philadelphia 76ers. So, and he only played 20 minutes a game. He started 2 games that season. So not this is, I mean, if I read you his percentages, Aaron, for the last 5 years, it's 45%, 48%, 42, 43, 48, 50. I mean, like 54. This was such a down year. This is the most threes he's ever taken, 6.3 attempts per game. So maybe that says something about why his percentages were lower because I mean, Aaron, the last 2 seasons for the Blazers, like this, he was the tradable asset, right? A 40% 3-point shooter at his size. Like every team was dreaming. That's why Cronin thought he could get 2 firsts for Jeremy Grant, right? But this season, 36%, like it's dropped. He's dropped across the board. Like you said, he's not a good rebounder. It just sucks, man. Jeremy Grant needed to be traded. Like and it's not that I think he's a bad player. It's just, this was the point of re-signing him 2 years ago to that huge number for 4 years or 5 years, whatever it was, because he was going to get traded. He doesn't fit the timeline. This doesn't make sense. And I don't want to say this. I was gonna say, and I don't know how good of a leader he is. And that's an awful statement for me to say because I don't really know that for sure. But I just what I see is what I see on TV. And
I think on the court you could say that. Like in the locker room, maybe he is. We don't know what we don't know that. He's probably a cool guy. Like maybe everyone gets along with him. Who knows? But on the court, he's not like an alpha on the court. It doesn't feel like, right? He's not the guy taking charge when things break down or like, hey, give it to me. I'm gonna look. We don't really run. We don't really run the offense through him. Like we just kind of, hey, can you bail us out? And then he usually can't, like in those situations, right? So like, it's just a weird spot. And I don't think we did him. Going back to like Chauncey and the coaching and the way the offense was run, I don't think we did him any favors in like increasing his trade value with the way it
no, we didn't.
The season played out. So as we're talking about all these numbers, so like, that's and only 47 games played. It's some injury. That plays into it too. But like,
we weren't pushing it with Jeremy because there was really no reason to. He gets my award for like going through the motions. He was the go through the motions guy this year because I felt like when he played, he just did his thing, and nothing more, nothing less. Well, clearly he did less because he had a down year, but he just kind of did what Jeremy Grant does. And like on past teams, like that's what this is so unfortunate, Aaron, is like there are multiple players on this iteration of the Blazers that if they had played with Dame and CJ, oh man, like maybe we probably would have been in a finals or two, swap out. I loved Chief Al-Farouq Aminu. I loved Al-Farouq. Give me Jeremy Grant instead of Aminu in some of those seasons. Oh man. I mean, that would have been incredible. So it's got to be a downgrade. It's got to be a bad grade for me, Aaron, because this wasn't a good year for Jeremy Grant.
Yeah. And I don't know, I'm not saying it's his fault or anything. It's just, that's what we saw. So I agree. Probably a D. Yeah.
A D. Yeah. A D. Sorry, Jeremy. I know, Jeremy, I know you listen.
I do love Jeremy. And honestly, like we talk about, he doesn't fit the timeline, not part of the team. I could see him on this team going forward just because, I mean, we don't know what the summer is going to look like, but like he's our only other power forward besides Toumani. Like, so like we need him and we need him to play well. And like,
that's true.
And he is a good defender, right? If in the right spots, if he's got the right matchups, like he's a good defender. We need him. So like I want him to play better because this team could be better if he's playing better.
Yeah. If there was a world where the Blazers, again, I think I've said this 6 times during the show, but got the number 1 pick and got Cooper, then
he would fit perfectly. I know.
Then keep Jeremy. Keep him, because if we get flagged, we're going all in for the playoffs next year. Like there's no reason for us to hold back anymore. And Jeremy would be an awesome piece to have.
Yeah.
So that's very, very situational, but maybe it'll happen. So, all right, Jeremy, sorry, you got a bad grade, but maybe it's not entirely your fault.
Yep.
All right, Aaron.
We got this one. The last few.
Yeah, we got a boogie here. This one will be fun. Our rookie, the 7'2", 7'2" foot. That's what I was about to say. 7'2" center from UConn, Donovan Clingan, 1,324 minutes this season, 67 games played in his rookie campaign. Give me your Clingan thoughts.
I mean, I didn't expect much because being a center rookie in the NBA can be pretty difficult. I thought he had some good defensive chops, some good awareness. Obviously, watching him get blocks is a lot of fun. Love that. Would love to see more of that. Yes. I think he surprised in some ways with his ability to facilitate, make passes on offense and stuff. I think there's a lot of improvement to still be done. I don't think he's ever going to be like, a go-to scorer, but I think he might, like, paired with the right point guard, be a really good rim run in center that could be a really good foundation piece for defense.
Yeah.
I liked what I saw from Clingan. I'm not disappointed with that pick. I think it's got potential still. So
yeah. I think this was the season that I thought he was going to have, and he had it. He stayed out of foul trouble relative to being a rookie 7'2" center, which I thought was a huge positive. He averaged about over 3 fouls a game. He rarely fouled out. And that is, I think, a really good plus if he is going to be that defensive anchor that either starts games for us and then we can quickly go to small ball if we need to, or in the right matchups, he plays. Like, we've mentioned this comp before, but similar to how like Rudy Gobert has developed, if Donovan can be that type of guy, the Blazers home run on the 7th pick in last year's kind of weaker draft. And so this season, Aaron, I think he exceeded. I think he played so well. There were some injuries, little nicky-knack things here and there. He needs to stop falling. I think I mentioned that in an article. Too many. He's too tall, too big. Like, stop falling on the ground. It's so scary when he does that. So it's like, if you can help it, don't do that, Donovan. Stay grounded, dude. You don't need to like do too much. But 7, what were we at? 8 rebounds a game. 8 rebounds a game, rookie year. How many blocks? 1.5 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, that stuff gets electrifying when he can do that. It really juices the team. So, what do you think of his 3-point shooting? Are you on board for a 3-point shooter shooting Donovan Clingan or not?
I'd rather him work on finishing around the basket more, but
Yeah, let's just do that. I
understand in today's NBA, you have to like take the shot so that they at least respect you enough to like stand within 5 feet of you. So like, I get it. In today's NBA, why not just take that shot?
But don't you have to make the shot to be respectable? Okay. It's like, well, we'll let Shaq shoot that 3 all day long. That's fine. Like, and Clingan 28%, 29%. I almost rounded up to 30, so it sounded better, but 29% is where it was at. If he can get that to 35, then you gotta, like, I think, go out and defend him. But I think that man, instead of looking for the 3-point shot, should be thinking, how do I literally go and just destroy someone in a screen and get someone open? Like, that needs to be his mindset every time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Donovan, he gets a B from me. A B.
I agree.
Okay. All right. B. We should have been harder on him, but maybe not. Okay. Let's do this one real quick, because then after this, it kind of doesn't matter. That's mean. I'm just going to say our starting center, 1,206 minutes, DeAndre Ayton, 40 games played, 14 points a game. Where does DeAndre Ayton stand for you this season, Aaron?
Polarizing player for sure. DeAndre Ayton. I don't know. I don't even want to like
it. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. He learned how to get to the game on time, which was a positive. He, and I know people around the country, especially here in Texas, were making fun of him for like, oh, he didn't get in his car because it was icy, so that's why he missed the game. The dude like fell like 2 or 3 days before that, and so again, a 7-footer slipping on ice, I probably wouldn't have tried to make it to the game either. So I don't want to be too hard on the man for that, but I don't know.
It just was not consistent enough. Like I don't know if it's an effort thing, if it's a mindset thing, but like there were times when he would be really in rhythm and like he could play that 2-man game, and he takes a little, 10-footer. It looks real smooth, and you're like, oh man, this guy, we can like run a 2-man game with him, and it's going to work really well. We're going to have an efficient offense. And then other times it just disappears, and like there's just, where are you, DeAndre Ayton? Why aren't you? If you want to be a number 1 overall pick and you want to be a top level player, you got to bring it every night. And I just didn't see that, and I wanted it. I think I spent more time defending him on this podcast than not, and I just don't know if I can do it anymore.
Yeah, you can the two, and I feel like I cover these games the most, which is, I don't know why it pans out that way. So I've seen this a lot. The two teams where if I could make wagers here in the state of Texas, I would bet Ayton overs whenever we play Milwaukee and whenever we play Phoenix. And it's because Milwaukee destroyed him in the finals when he was with Phoenix, and Phoenix was his old team. He like locks in. He is incredible. The reason why Lillard has not had success playing us as a Buck isn't because anything to do with Dame or Simons. It's because Ayton like takes it to them. And then with Phoenix, that was where the season turned, when we beat Phoenix back-to-back games during that stretch in January where we shouldn't have. There's no way we should have won both those games, but we won both of them. That spiraled Phoenix because they had Devin Booker and Durant for both games, and Ayton just went wild. And so it sucks when you can see that potential.
Yeah.
But it's probably not really going to happen. And that's why this season probably for a grade, Aaron, is really hard for me to give him a grade, because I'm like, well, he kind of did what I thought he would do. I mean, I don't know. You could say C-, and I'd say, yeah, you could say, hey, when he played hard, he was a B+, A- guy. I don't know. You have to give it. I don't know where to go.
I would say this might be the one I give my incomplete to, because only 40 games played, or not, and also just himself just being incomplete effort, like just didn't lock in for enough games. I hope for the best, but I think that as like, if I'm the GM, I'm looking at like, are there places where we can get a deal for him? Because I just don't know if he's going to fit, if we have Klingon and these other guys to fill that role. Can we maybe move on for him? I don't know, but my hope is that he turns it around and he's like, Embiid light in Portland. That's the hope.
Embiid light. That's our projection for Ayton. Embiid light. Yeah. I like it. I think if this was like Marvel and we could do like other universes, I would love to see how a universe plays out that Scoot and Ayton are your like focal points, and you put 3 defensive players around them, because I think Scoot is like the Ayton whisperer.
I think they play well together. Yeah,
they play so well together. It's nuts, and they don't get a ton of minutes together all the time, but they really do play well together. And I think Scoot does something to Ayton to get more out of them. I would never say, hey, let's leverage our team to see how that works for a year in real life, but I wish we could see that in another universe, a multiverse, just to see if that actually could pan out or not. But all right, okay, let's combine these last two, then we'll wrap up for the show. Okay, Delano Banton, Chris Murray, Jabari Walker. I'm going to put all 3 together because those are really the next 3 on the list, and after that there aren't too many minutes besides. Okay. So give me thoughts on those 3 combined: Banton, Jabari, and Delano. I'm sorry, Delano, Chris Murray, and Jabari Walker. all had interesting seasons last year with us, came in this year as kind of like these, hey, let's see if there's improvement coming off the bench, getting spot minutes. What do the Blazers have with these three? Any of them jump out to you or regress in any notable way?
One stat that jumped out to me when I was looking through the team stats, if we take out Matisse Thybulle, because didn't play very much, do you know who led the Blazers in 3-point percentage?
No way Delano, but I'm gonna say Delano Banton.
It was Jabari Walker.
Oh, Jabari. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Not a huge. He's playing 12 minutes a game, which is also very low, right? I think we thought he would get a little more run than that this year. So I don't know what happened with the coaching and development stuff. Because I know last year we were like, oh, Toumani Jabari, like which those are our two, like which one is going to be? And Toumani went boom, and Jabari just like disappeared. Yeah. So I think Jabari is the one for me. I'm like, why can't he get more run? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm seeing if he's shooting the three well, and I think when he was out there, I thought he played well, but he's also only playing garbage minutes usually. So like, I don't know what they're seeing in practice. But that'd be the guy that I'm like, can we turn this around? So Jabari, Chris Murray, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think he is going to be having a long-term career with us. We'll see. But
no, they're trying. You can tell they really want it for Chris because I think he's a really good guy. But yeah, Chris will be on another team and may succeed on another team.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to be with us. Yeah. Delano is Delano. I think he had exactly the same year that he had last year. Came in and shot the ball a lot and with some instant offense at times can really look incredible. Like he is a really good offensive player. Jabari, yeah, man, we literally were having those debates. I think I actually have said on a show with you that like, could Jabari make an all-star team or something?
Well, you asked me between the two, if one was to be an all-star, what would be like, how would the team be? My take was if Jabari jumped to that, then we have good Toumani and Jabari all-star. Like that's what it was. That would make the team the best.
Yeah.
But we took a little different interpretations of the question. But
we did. You're right. That's 100% what it was. And I still think that would be true.
Right. Yeah.
He hustles. He rebounds. You said this beautifully. His 3-point shot, he's efficient, and he's not getting a lot of attempts, and he's nailing them. And so he was 6 for 6 in a game towards the end of the year. I mean, I don't know why he doesn't get more playing time.
I think he should. That'd be the one. I think that should be up closer to like 20 minutes rather than 12. Yeah, I don't know how that fits in, but I think that would be. I would like to see it at least for a stretch and see how it works, but.
Mm-hmm. He seems like a guy that has a great attitude. We don't know this team beyond just what we see on the court, but he doesn't seem like a guy that backtalks in practice or doesn't show up on time. I mean, he comes from an NBA family. I think he knows how to be a pro.
Knowing Chauncey, it's probably a defensive thing in his mind. Like he just thinks he's not as high quality defender as some of the other guys. That'd be my guess. But like for a team that really needs to improve 3-point shooting, if the difference is not that great, I would like to see if he gets more look, does he get better? Like, does he keep that percentage? If he's taking three or four threes a game at that percentage, he's our best 3-point shooter. Like it's like no question. So like that'd be the one out of those three that stands out to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know how else to phrase this question, but like. I wouldn't be surprised if we let playoff teams rent our players just for the playoffs. It wouldn't surprise me if Jabari got picked up, like because he would fit some of these teams so well because of what he does, and he doesn't need the ball. Like he could be a difference maker for a team, like the Lakers or something, or Milwaukee in the East Conference. So I don't know. Downgrade for me just because he didn't get the playing time.
Right.
But I think
his fault. Yeah.
It wasn't his fault. But I think if you do quick, Delano, give me a C+, Chris Murray, C-, and Jabari, I'll say a B minus for Jabari.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna just say C+ for that group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The group. Okay. 4 minutes. We got to go. Give me your thoughts on Chauncey Billups, his season he had, and now quick thought on his now extension.
Yeah. Okay. So my take on Chauncey is I do think he improved as a coach, which, if you're grading players and this team on their development, I did see improvement with Chauncey. I don't know that was enough for me to think that he's the guy to keep around. To me, the extension signals this team is still going to be rebuilding for 2 or 3 more years. That's what that says to me. And it's depressing as a Blazers fan. It's how much longer are we doing this for? But that's what that says to me, because you keep him because you think he's developing your players well, which I think he might be, but he also is. The playing time stuff has bothered us all season. The way that he does those rotations that you highlighted before is not always great for getting the most out of your players. Like you were saying, that 4 minutes and then bringing someone in, no one does that, because it's just not how these athletes are geared, right? You need to be out on the floor. It's been a while since I played basketball, but I do know you need a couple minutes to really get into the flow of the game, and then you can start doing things. So
you got to get warmed up.
I didn't love the news, but I kind of understood it's kind of it's like the safe, no risk thing to do, which is kind of what makes it as a fan, oh, come on.
Yeah.
We would back you on a risk. We don't care at this point. Our team's at the bottom. We want something different. So
it told me, and I think you're right, from the organization standpoint, it signals, hey, we're probably going to be rebuilding for another year or two, and let's see if we can get Carlos Boozer, or not Carlos, Caden Boozer, the Boozer twins, right, that are coming in next year's draft. Let's see if we can get one of them. But it tells me he had no idea, because if Jody or Cronin or anybody had gone to Chauncey and said, hey man, we really, I know this is a lame duck year for you, but we plan on re-signing you and to a 3-year extension. Just keep that in mind. I think Chauncey would have tanked the year. I think he would have just sat everybody and been like, oh, I get 3 more years at this. I want the best chance at a high draft pick, so I can then get another extension 3 years down the road.
That would have been smart. That's not what they said. They said that turnaround in January and winning those games late in the season, which we all know as fans was kind of meaningless because no other team was trying.
Yeah.
They said that kind of saved his job, basically. That was the message that they gave to us, and we're like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, what? Why do you base it off that? It made no sense.
It should not be based on that.
No, it should not be based on that. And so now it's you re-signed a coach that I do agree with you, Aaron. There was some, I think, in-game decisions were much better. I think he knew how to press the buttons a little bit better this year, but it's also Avdija would not take no for an answer on the court, and that didn't really have to do anything with Chauncey or not. And Toumani took a big leap, and those two guys played the most games, the most minutes, and hence why our record was good, or relative to what it should have been. It's if we don't play those guys, I don't think our record would have been anywhere close, and because Chauncey wouldn't have been able to coach us to 40 to 36 wins.
Yeah, and in a league where Michael Malone gets fired for an NBA champ, and I know it was personnel, disagreements and stuff. So obviously Chauncey's doing a good job being friendly and everyone gets along, right? A good culture, right? You want a good culture. So I get that part of it. But in a league where that can happen, where these coaches are getting fired all over the place, the fact that we kept Chauncey for that much longer when we didn't really need to. But we'll see. I mean, coaches get fired in the middle of contracts all the time. If something happens and this team decides, hey, now we're not living up to expectations, if they're going to go into the next season thinking playoffs, I think they're going to be disappointed, and Chauncey may not have a job next year. So we'll see.
Yeah, he may not have a job.
Expectations are everything for a coach.
Yeah, I want us to have a coach and a team that I feel like can contend for a title. And right now we don't.
Nope.
And I don't think on either front. And so it's like, and I know this is Chauncey's first coaching job, and I guess like coaches get better too. And he did make improvements this year, but he just doesn't have the team, I think, to match with where that should be, because we still have all these vets. Like, are we trying to win, or what are we doing? Like, because Ayton and Grant and Simons and Rob Williams III. I don't know if should be on this team if we're trying to tank, but if we're trying to win, those guys aren't getting us to a title either. So, yeah, I think this was the safe play. You're 100% right, Aaron. I think maybe even the night before they thought, oh, do we fire him or do we let him go? Okay. I mean, if we didn't call at least Taylor Jenkins from the Grizzlies, if we didn't at least give that man a call, I would be so upset. Like, we should have felt that dude out, because he got fired from Memphis, about a month ago? And from all accounts, is an incredible coach.
That's the other way to look at this, right? There's only 30 teams in the NBA. And are we saying Chauncey is one of the 30 best people available to coach a team? That's a lot harder question to answer, but it's also one you need to ask if you're a GM. Like, do you have the best guy available for that job? Maybe Chauncey is right now. I don't run an organization. There's a lot of stuff in the background we don't know, but as a fan, it just said, the message to a fan was, buckle up.
Buckle up, because here we go. We're still riding, and as
a fan, it's tough.
It's tough. He was sold to us as he is going to come and help Lillard. Like he is a championship pedigree, defensive minded, gritty point guard, point guard's coach. And he's going to come in, he's going to help Dame. And it's like, okay, he's going to help Dame. And he comes in, Dame got hurt. There was injuries. It wasn't all Chauncey's fault, but it was just like, okay, well, this experiment didn't work. And he was here to help Dame. So now let's move on. And then you get Scoot, and it's like, oh, okay, hold on. He was going to coach up Dame, but now he can coach up Scoot, because same thing, point guard, gritty, championship. And then he's like sitting the guy, and he's yo-yoing it. And it's like, okay, this isn't working. So we should have just moved on. It just, the Jody Allen, if you're listening, I know you listen. I've sent you multiple letters to sell the team to me. I give me a loan. Give me a loan for the team, and owner financing. We'll stretch that thing out like 2,000 years. I'll ensure my family keeps paying your family on the loan. Give me a good interest rate, and just give me the team, because you clearly don't want to run the team. So give me the team. And let's move on. I don't know why you're ignoring my letters. I've mailed them every day since you took over. So I'm hurt.
Love it.
Okay, grade. Chauncey's grade. Then we gotta
go. Okay. Ignoring the extension, just grading on the season. There was improvement. I'll say B-.
He's just
C+.
He's got to have an F. I gotta give him an F. His job. Okay, Aaron. He got paid millions of dollars to do a job, and his job should have been to tank. And I know that's. I know.
It's a good point. Coach, no, it's a fair point. I didn't really think it through. I hadn't really thought about a grade for Chauncey. I'll give him an F. Sure. I agree.
He failed. He failed at his job. And if I was another team that's going to hire Chauncey, and our team gets into a situation where we need to tank and he doesn't, I'm not going to hire him. I'm not going to hire him. There would be no fault. His record is terrible. Like, if you look at his win-loss record, it is really, really, and it, again, not necessarily his fault,
but yeah.
And I think other organizations wouldn't judge him on his win-loss. They would judge him on development, how he led the team, and how he properly set up the Blazer organization for the future. I think you could take that to any other team, and they would say, okay, like we let's hire you for a 5-year. He didn't do it. He failed. F.
Yeah.
F.
Okay. No, that's a fair point. Grading on the fact that we kept winning at the end is a negative. That's an F. Yeah.
Yeah. Why we were rolling out Deni Avdija in so many games. The man could have broken his leg. Like, what are we doing? Like, sit him. Sit him. Toumani, I know Toumani needed to play because he wanted to make sure that he got on an all defensive team. I do. I think that's why Toumani kept playing, because that is so cool. Like, February Defensive Player of the Month. There's whispers of maybe first team, but I don't think he'll get there just because of our record was so bad. But he'll get second team. So that's why Camara had to keep playing. Everybody else should have sat. Like, I don't know why Deni. It must have been Deni saying, no, I'm not going to sit. Like, I'm not going to sit. Anyway, okay, we're well over. Aaron, the Dr. Brown, thank you for coming in and giving us grades on our Trailblazers this year.
Yeah, it's fun to just do some fan perspective, just talk back and forth. Always great hanging out. Hope everyone enjoys.
Yeah. And we'll have some great, like, just because the season's over, this is actually when the fun starts for the Trailblazers.
Right. This is when hopes rekindle.
All the things, Aaron. It can happen. Yeah. So we'll have some great off-season, summer league, draft coverage, training camp. We'll have you back multiple times. So everybody giddy up. I'm going to try to be more consistent now that our little girl is a little older, a couple months old now. My wife and I have been sleeping through the night, which has been great. But you are about to enter into newborn world.
That's right. I will also be a dad ×2.
You will be a dad ×2.
Coming up here pretty soon.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. All right, buddy. Aaron, thank you for being on the Rip City Roundtable Podcast, man.
Thank you for having me, Corey. Appreciate it.
Right. No problem, bud. See ya.